Hi everyone, welcome to Best Recipes with Sharon. This recipe is to help those that need to watch their gluten. So stay with me on how to make gluten-free pie crust. There are a few little secrets that will help make this a success. By measuring out 1 cup of lard, and then measure 1 teaspoon of salt. Then crack 1 medium egg into a measuring cup. Then measure out 1½ teaspoons of white vinegar and add that to the egg. Then take cold water and pour it into the measuring cup with the egg and vinegar until it reaches about 1/2 cup. Set that aside until you're ready to use it. So next, use a really good quality flour. I'm using a gluten-free all-purpose flour that already has the xanthan gum added. So now start by putting 2 3/4 cups of the gluten-free flour into the mixing bowl. Then add the teaspoon of salt. Then add 1 cup of lard. Then mix this together until the dough forms. Be patient, this will take a few minutes. Now the dough will have come together enough that it doesn't look like it needs any more liquid. This is where you add the water, vinegar, and egg mixture. Now only mix it gently until it's incorporated, not very long. Now then remove the attachment on the mixer and then mix it with your hands and add a little bit more gluten-free flour, but just enough flour so that it won't be so tacky and you can roll the dough out. Now go easy on the flour because you can always add a little bit more if you need it when you're rolling, but it's more difficult to add moisture at this point. Now let the fun begin, the rolling out part. Gluten-free flour is not the easiest thing to work with, so I measure out some parchment paper. Then I grease it lightly with some vegetable oil. Then I place the dough on top of that and roll it out just slightly. It'll just be in the shape of a disc. Take the dough on the parchment paper and place it in the freezer for about 8 minutes. Then remove it from the freezer and place another piece of parchment paper on top of it. You will now be able to roll it out the rest of the way. So then just keep rolling it back and forth like this until you get it into the shape that you want it to be and large enough for your pie shell. Now then, let's check it out and see how it looks. Now it's ready to put into the pie plate. So I'm going to take the pie plate, turn it upside down on the shell, and quickly flip it over like this. Then peel off the parchment paper. And now don't stretch the dough to make it fit. Now just lift the edges of the dough with one hand and gently pat it down with the other. If you still get a little tear, just press it together like this. Now just pinch up or crimp the edges however you like to do it, and you can cut the extra pieces off the edge with a sharp knife, and that's just to trim it up a little bit. Now I'm going to be making an open-faced pie with this, so I'm just going to take a fork and pick the bottom and the sides a little bit. This will just help to keep the pie crust from shrinking. But I'm also using these pie weights as well. So whatever pie weights you have to use, just spread them around evenly on the bottom like this. Then you place it in a preheated oven at 425 degrees until it's golden. So keep a close eye on it, about 10, maybe 15 minutes. And if it looks like it needs it, I remove the pie weights and leave it in the oven for another couple of minutes just to make sure the bottom is browned up nice. Then remove it from the oven when it's nice and golden and fill it with your favorite pie filling. I used my recipe for butterscotch pie, which is available on one of my first videos. If you wanted to use that recipe and need to avoid gluten, just make sure that the cornstarch and chocolate you use is gluten-free. Thanks for watching today's episode of Best Recipes with Sharon, and I hope you found it helpful.